Hello, another video dedicated to the commander, or more precisely to the newly added Cassana. In today's video I will focus on her stats, history and usefulness. However, before we start, I want to ask you a little riddle related to her. The riddle is on the screen, and the answer to it will be found in the later stages of the video. I cordially invite you to watch. Cassana, despite what you might think of her in the context of Game of Thrones, Winter is Coming, is not a warrior of the sword and shield. She is a warrior of the pen and words. She is a diplomat. She is a rising star of Tyrush, because coming from a noble family with such a talent for languages as she does, she can achieve a lot. According to the description, under her velvet gloves are iron fists. Yes, that's true. But what does that really mean? A tough art, believing in her success and her victory. That's how you can describe her in a nutshell. I don't want to delve into the legal system of the free cities of Volantis here, because some people would fall asleep. So let's move on. First, let's take a look at her specialization. It's the first thing you'll notice when choosing any commander. Following the punch, like Sarer and Vorian, there's no surprise here. Cavalry health maxed out by 50%, total attack by 25%, and increased damage to spearmen by 15%. There's no real surprise here. Even her army active is on par with the rest, maxing out at 200% unit damage. I was much more surprised by her guard skills. Her power skill deals some damage, but also increases resistance to control effects, such as stun. This is still quite understandable. I also understand Thunderous Prayer, which applies a shield at the beginning of the battle, as well as Thunderous Shelter, which passively reduces damage received from enemy skills. Shield Frenzy, on the other hand, really intrigued me. It increases attack when it receives a shield, and when does she receive it herself? At the very beginning of the battle. This is a bit confusing, because which commander applies a shield to someone? But I quickly realized my mistake, because even though it is not written directly, Margery and Egbert also apply a shield. Reducing damage received is actually a shield. This requires thorough testing, but I am convinced that I am right here. A really interesting solution, because it is also not written anywhere that this additional attack value does not stack. But that could be a bit too strong. The RTS mode is also top shelf, increases all cavalry stats by up to 240%, as well as triple rage skills, temporary stat boost, cooldown reduction by 1 second, and a chance to repeat skills if chosen as a leader. In theory, 1 second isn't much, but if someone fought with one unit non-stop for several minutes, which often happens, that 1 second could change a lot. Because while other units perform 9 skill attacks, the Cassana wielder will perform 10. That's a free damage boost of a good dozen%, including the second passive effect, the chance to repeat skills. Really a great thing. In this part I will discuss her awakening ability, as well as answer the riddle from the beginning of the video. But first, an overview. Mysterious Prayer is a truly wonderful ability, and I would not want to meet it. It is a skill based on destroying the opponent. For the first 2 seconds of battle, allied commanders do not use the ability because they have a negative silent status. However, in the 3rd second they make a slaughter by attacking all enemy units in their line with their abilities. So for example, placing Annie in line A, all enemy units from line A will receive damage from her, and additionally from each unit part of the enemy army is sent back. It works the same way with Arya Stark's death markers or Cersei's ignition. It is not without reason that I mentioned female commanders, because Cassana relies on female synergy. However, there is one catch here, because if there are no further units, i.e., the opponent is single-type troops, then her actual damage is very low for a legend. Her true strength is when she disarms other players' castles or great cities. She is not designed for 1v1 attacks, although she still greatly strengthens any lineup in which she is used. The second catch is Salma. Having Salma and Cassana at the same time only harms ourselves, because Salma allows you to attack with skills in the 1st second, while Cassana's awakening silences the troops. This means that as part of Salma's awakening ability, we only get a chance to miss an attack in the 1st seconds of the battle. Great deal, and that is exactly the answer. The synergy issue resolved itself. Famil synergy. However, is there a specific lineup that I would personally recommend? Yes, there is one. Small. On the cheap, I would say. Of course, since women's synergy, Layla Mormont has to be in the lineup. Since Cassana's damage is based on large fights, I would definitely recommend Daenerys Targaryen and Annie. Both of them do great in fights where a large number of armies participate. The last commander for this synergy that I would use is Saenel. Actually, the last, or should I say the first. Yes, thanks to this 1 second from Cassana, under favorable circumstances from Layla Mormont, there is a big chance for a maximum boost in the middle of the battle. Additionally, it will significantly increase the frequency of removing debuffs, which will greatly support in fights against status commanders. To sum up Cassana, she is good, very good in fact. But not everywhere, not in every case. Vorian, who is simply a destroyer, has a weak point, disarmament. Cassana's weak point is fighting against single-type troops army, but that's not entirely true either. With a well-thought-out plan, she can also be countered by placing several hundred Tier 1 units of other types in the first 2 rows. She is not very good at 1v1 fights, but against castles, large cities, or buildings at events, it will be hard, very hard, to stand up to her. The first few seconds of the battle will decide about defeat or victory, and Cassana has a really solid hit. That's all for today. Thanks for watching and see you soon.